Info in this module. This module will provide you with brief information about personal safety on and off campus. Some topics include consent, harassment, sexual assault, reporting, and Title IX. Campus safety is our responsibility. The key takeaway from all of the mandatory modules has been that you are a vital part of the Homestead community. You impact others with your words and your choices. You have the power to shape how other students feel on and off campus, and you contribute to their overall school experience, as do others to yours. As vital members of this community, we have asked you to be allies, to seek help when in need, but we also ask that you trust us as Homestead actively works to be a safer, more welcoming, and a respectful campus for all. Consent, defining and seeking guidance. Consent, permission for something to happen or voluntary agreement to do something. But let's hear a little bit more about the meaning of consent from Mike.
So what is this word consent that we're hearing all about nowadays? Good news is it's not complicated. It's very simple. I'm going to ask you 2 questions right now. I'd like you to answer both of these questions super loud, okay? So the answer to the first one is going to be yes or no. Nice and easy. But I want you to answer them literally out loud so everybody in the room is going to hear each other answer this question. Question number 1. Does every human being deserve a choice before you ever do anything with their body, sexually or intimately? Yes or no? Now, everybody probably yelled yes, or just about everybody yelled yes. And if you didn't yell it, you thought it. You're like, well, of course somebody deserves a choice before you ever touch them sexually or intimately. Of course, no brainer. That's question number 1. Question number 2, how do you normally give someone a choice? You simply ask them a question. That's consent. Consent is about giving another person a choice and respecting their answer at all times. That's consent. To make it even easier, I bet you never want an adult to try to do something with your body you don't want done to your body, right? You could just say, well, of course I don't want somebody trying to do something to my body I don't want done, Mike. That's common sense. Yes. So let's make sure we always treat others exactly the same. And then we treat ourselves the same way, knowing that we always have the right to have our boundaries respected just like others do. And you do that by making sure somebody's able to enthusiastically agree and want this to occur, that it's mutual, that both people want this to occur. No one's pressuring someone. Nobody's trying to change someone's answer. And that everybody's of legal age to do this. Now, this is super important because the age of everybody in this room, you need to find out what age you're actually able to legally give agreement for anybody to do anything with you sexually or intimately, because that's a law. And you can't do that till you are that age. Super important to know. You also need to be of sound mind. All people do, which means alcohol or drugs are not being used to try to get somebody to do something they wouldn't want to do when they were sober, where they knew what they were doing. Consent's not complicated. What's horrible is that some people aren't giving people the choice of consent. They're saying, well, I know what they want, so I'm just going to do it to them. Not okay. Look, if you knew what they wanted, why didn't you ask and let them say yes? Were you afraid they were going to say no? Or were you afraid they're not comfortable with what's happening? And if either of those are true, then it shouldn't be happening. If you can't talk about it, or they can't talk about it, it shouldn't be happening. And that's okay to know I'm not in a rush, I'm not in a hurry, right? To honor each person's boundaries and timelines. That's today's discussion on consent.
Seek our guidance. Dating, puberty, and relationship conversations are all topics that can be awkward to have with your parents. I do encourage you to try, but if you're not ready to do so, there are several staff members on campus who you can seek for guidance. How about teachers? Remember, we were all teenagers once. Or our school-based therapists. They're professionals after all. Or if you just need some support as you bring up these topics to your parents, we can also be there to hold your hand, be in the room, or to practice. Harassment, definition and examples. Harassment is unwanted behavior which you find offensive or which makes you feel intimidated or humiliated. Examples of harassment among teens include verbal or written harassment, physical harassment, and visual harassment. Verbal or written harassment includes text messages or social media posts, demeaning nicknames, catcalls or rating, embarrassing whistles, sexual bragging for others to hear. Physical harassment includes bumping, touching, grabbing, patting, and stalking. Visual harassment includes sending pictures that are unwanted and cause others to feel uncomfortable. This includes also videos, inappropriate gestures, graffiti with names on desks or walls. Campus resources. If you witness or experience any type of harassment, seek help. Again, any teacher. Remember, we were teenagers at one point. Our school-based therapists, they're professionals. Also, you can find our student safety report, which is an online confidential form found on our website. Look for the logo where you can submit anonymous reports without having to come into the office to see a dean. Don't forget, you have your parents or guardians who you can seek for help. Remember, they always want the best for you. But we know that you are likely to go to your friends for support. So if you find that somebody is in need, be supportive, be their ally, but also make sure that you report to an adult. Sexual assault, boundaries and scenarios. Remember, safety is all of our responsibility. Sexual assault. Merriam-Webster defines sexual assault as illegal sexual contact that usually involves force upon a person without consent or is inflicted upon a person who is incapable of giving consent or who places the aggressor in a position of trust or authority. Take a look at these stats. The RAINN organization reports that sexual violence affects millions of Americans. The majority of sexual assault victims are under the age of 30 years. Younger people are at the highest risk of sexual violence. 1 out of every 10 rape victims are male, and 82% of all juvenile victims are female. Reporting on and off-campus resources. Who to report to? Remember that the SSR is located on our school's website. This is a confidential way for you to access the deans and inform them of any concerns or safety issues that you or your friends may be having. We also have our school-based therapists. Remember, they are the professionals. You can see Ms. Lloyd or Ms. Afshar in the GSS building. You can also access them using the QR code that is located outside of the building. There are online organizations if you wish to obtain more information. The RAINN organization is focused on anti-sexual violence, and their website is located here for your reference. Title IX, Key Info and Process. Title IX Process. You can find all of the needed information for the Title IX process on our school's website. Here is the link. Once you access the website, go to the Student tab. In the Student tab, you will be able to find the Title IX and Gender Equity link. Within the tab, you will find more information about the complete process. There is also a link on commonly asked questions and key people to see if you feel that you have been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted. You can also go to your deans, but if you prefer to go to the district, you can contact Dr. Trudy Gross to file a report. Title IX Reporting, Off-Campus Resources. Again, if this is a student against student complaint, you are to seek the guidance of Dr. Trudy Gross. You can always come to the deans as a starting point, but if you have been sexually assaulted or you want to file a claim for sexual harassment under Title IX, then you are to speak to Dr. Trudy Gross, who is our Title IX coordinator. You can also file a police report as your first step. Here are the numbers for Sunnyvale Police Department and also the Sheriff's Department. For any incident that occurred on campus, you should call the Sheriff's Department. But if you're ever in danger, always dial 911. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure to reach out to either Dean Nguyen or myself. You can email us, you can call us, you can text us. You can reach us using the SSR form located on our school website. You can see us in the hallways. You can drop into the office. But please, if you ever need assistance, come see us.